There's a genuine economic reason why price gouging, why increasing the price of medical supplies could actually aid the coronavirus response, and the economic principles we can learn from it. That's today on the Wall Street Team. Alright, so one thing I want to make clear is that while it would be great if companies could produce all the medical supplies we needed, distributed, give it for free, that's not the world we live in. It's not realistic. In the real world, companies operate to make a profit. Economics has a law for this, the law of supply. The law of supply basically states that as prices increase, supply increases with it. The reason for this is very logical. If prices increase, then you can make more money selling that good. Therefore, producers are going to increase their supply of that good so they can make more money since they are trying to make the most profit they can. And new competitors are going to enter the market to also grab a share of that new higher price and the new profit. So if the price of medical equipment increases due to a shift in demand, then supply is going to increase with it due to the law of supply. So what does this mean? This means that there's going to be an increased supply. We saw this in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina ravaged the South. It was actually private enterprises who were the first to provide disaster relief, not the government. But prices are going to remain at really high levels, right, that no one can afford. Well, no. Let's think about this. There's an earthquake in California. People selling medical supplies and services in Utah, Nevada, neighboring states, well, they can make more money selling in California where there's been a demand shock, where prices are higher. So they're going to go to California. That influx of new competitors in the market is going to initiate competition, which is actually going to drive down prices. Even if prices remain a little higher than normal, that could actually be a good thing because it discourages people who don't necessarily need the goods or services from buying them. For example, I'm probably not going to buy a mask right now because they're a bit expensive and I don't really need them. That influenced my decision, and now medical workers have more supply to buy from. A study actually found that in the event of another hurricane like Hurricane Katrina, if the government were to enact price controls, it would result in a further $1.9 billion in economic losses. Another benefit of not enacting price controls, or really a negative of price controls, is that let's say there's news of a natural disaster, then suppliers are going to stock up on the goods that will be in higher demand, and then they'll actually go to those areas, increasing the supply. But they'll only do that if they can make a profit. If they can't make extra profit, if they can't sell it for a higher price due to something like price controls, for instance, then it's not worth it for them to go all the way there. They're not going to do it. They're not going to stock up, and there's going to be less supply than what there could have been. We see this with Walmart. Walmart has their own person dedicated to tracking the forecast and seeing which stores will need which products for an emergency, and then they send those products to that store so they can sell them and make more profit. Now, if you're looking for the term to just describe what we talked about, it's price signals. Price signals is the economic concept that basically prices can signal to producers when they should start producing more or producing less. It can indicate changes in scarcity and changes in demand. Now, I want to cover one concept real quickly: deadweight loss. Economists observe that certain things can lead to inefficiencies in the market. Price ceilings, which are essentially what anti-price gouging laws are one of these things. They're a form of government intervention that can cause inefficiencies. That's what we're going to show right now. Price ceilings are ceilings on the price. It puts a cap at what prices can be. So this is our supply and demand curve. At the price of $5, producers are willing to supply 500 masks. Now there's this idea of consumer and producer surplus. Consumer surplus is essentially the maximum price a consumer is willing to pay for a good minus what they did pay for it. For example, at this point here, people were willing to pay $7 for the masks, but they only had to pay $5 for the market price. Their producer surplus was $2. Now, consumer surplus is represented on this graph. Where? Here. All these people were willing to pay more than $5, but only had to pay $5 or the market price, and therefore had a positive consumer surplus. Producer surplus is the opposite. It's the price the good was sold at minus the seller's minimum price. Now, this is different than profit. Note that. Because while you may only make a good at $1, you might not be willing to sell it for anything less than $2. So consumer surplus is also on this graph. It's represented like this. All these people were willing to sell their good for less than $5, but sold it at the market price of $5. They had a positive consumer surplus. So let's say we implement a price ceiling at $3. You can see that consumer surplus has actually shrunk. This is because now only people who are willing to sell their masks for less than $3 are still in the market. Anyone who is willing to sell it for more, they're out. You want to sell your mask for $3.50? Well, too bad. So now this empty space over here, That's deadweight loss. The market is less efficient because consumer and producer surplus are not being maximized. You can also see there's a shortage actually, due to the law of demand. And that finishes this episode of the Wall Street Team. If you liked the video, make sure to share and subscribe. I left my sources down in the description below, and I actually learned about this concept from Crash Course Economics. They have a great course, I linked it in the description as well. Definitely go check it out if you're interested in this type of stuff. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.